Okay. We shall
Can
start.
you tell me who's there? Because I can't tell now. On this, it doesn't tell me who's present.
Oh, right, because you don't have the screen. So Steve is here. Well, you're the only one on the screen anyway. So
Yeah.
Steve is here. He's chairing. Bernie and Ryan. So we're missing Charlene, Norma, Renee, and Ken.
Ken said he was going to be out. So.
Okay.
Okay, we shall call the meeting to order at 9:01 and go right to the agenda. First is the approval of minutes.
So moved.
September 8th. So moved. All right, that was quick. We hear a second.
Second.
Ryan seconds. Do we hear a third? Okay. Minutes are approved, and we shall.
No, we have to vote. All in favor?
That's right, we do. All in favor of
Aye.
approving minutes?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Correspondence.
Certainly none that doesn't relate to an agenda item. No freestanding MSRAC correspondence.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say misery.
Citizen comments? Anyone?
No citizens are in evidence.
And on to 5, the heart of the meeting, committee business. A. CTDECDC Community Investment Fund grant application feedback.
Okay, so as you guys know, because I sent it to you, we did not receive the CIF grant, the $3.88 million. That is not as dire as it seems. The way this program is designed, there's only a limited number of municipalities that qualify, which Thompson is one. They want to give this money away. I was talking to Senator Flexer on Community Day, which was right after we got awarded the STEEP grant, and I had found out that we didn't get this. Partly, I think they didn't award it to us because they gave us the STEEP grant, and that was May's feedback as well. But I also think they don't really give the first-time applicants the awards all that often. Because they give you an executive summary, and that's what I sent to you guys, with their commentary, make this better. So I would be happy to have any feedback from any of you who read it and, identified your own sort of spaces where we could have tightened that up. Now, I am going to work with John Guskowski on my next submission. It opens up this month in October, and the awards are going to be announced in March. Since John is one of my organizational partners in the 65 Main grant, and the 65 Main reno money is a part of this, I've asked him to shift his activity under that partnership to helping me tighten this one up. So between the two of us, you've got a couple of pretty good grant writers who know how to work this system. I've also got a call with DECD on either Monday or Tuesday, Monday, to discuss the executive summary. So I feel pretty good that they're going to make the award to us in the next round. You can't know for certain. I mean, maybe they won't like how I respond to their executive summary in the new draft, but they designed the process to get the money into the hands of the town. So I'm feeling pretty good.
That's good. B, Plain Road intersection, just looking really good.
Fantastic. I walked by it today while the guys were doing their work and waved at them. It is already safer. As a pedestrian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As a pedestrian, absolutely already safer.
Yeah, you've got about 50% of the distance walk across with cars coming at you from every which way.
That's right. I no longer, especially crossing from Riverside Tube Lane, because that's like a semi-blind cross coming from the northbound traffic. I no longer have to scurry like a panicked rat across that place where people would just come whipping. Hey, Norma. Good to see you. It is already safer to turn on and off of Riverside in a vehicle, even without all that stuff, because you can't not pay attention anymore. The curbing defines the inch, as we all knew it would.
That's correct.
As we all knew.
I had someone complaining the other day, and I said, excuse me, I've been nose to nose with cars coming out when I'm coming in. because they're where they don't belong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At least once a week since we announced that project, I've had somebody either coming into my office or stopping me on the street
Yeah.
to tell me how it's going to be less safe. But do you know what they actually mean by that? They mean now I have to pay attention.
Right.
So it's inconvenient to me as a driver.
That's correct.
That is
I
correct.
have to wait for the cars in front of me to turn right before I can turn left.
Oh, yes. Yes. So
What you said.
everything about that is going to look better. It is already safer. That's going to be a win. And I mean, it already is a win. So congratulations on being patient because it's getting done.
Okay. C, vote on 2024, our next year's meeting dates. If the second Friday of the month is still good, these dates would be, and it's listed there. I didn't confirm that any of these are holidays or not holidays.
Well, there's a question there on the last one is on one of the end of the list about it. So what should we do on a given holiday? On one of them, somewhere I saw that.
Yeah, well, the
Veteran-
next point is our next,
Veterans.
it's on veterans.
Oh, it's the next meeting.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
but this refers to next year.
Okay,
And
I missed that.
I mean, I don't see any conflicts. Does anybody have any conflicts?
No,
with
I
this?
didn't deal with it. I just usually get the list and punch it into my calendar. You know.
Do I hear a motion to approve these dates?
So moved.
Second.
Ryan?
Well,
All in favor of approving the dates as listed on the agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimous.
Yeah.
As much.
And that brings us to D, which is our next meeting. Veterans Day, Town Hall is closed. Shall we cancel the meeting? Do you foresee any outstanding important business?
I do not particularly. That's the 10th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is the day after the next 65 Main, the gameplay. So if this commission wanted to talk about that the following week, we could do that or talk about the event the day it's going to happen. I'm open to do whatever you guys want. I don't see any huge issues coming up for the month of November that the MSRAC needs to address. So unless you guys are dying to meet to discuss any of these topics, I would say you're well within.
It's right after the election too, so everybody's got to come.
That is true. It's a couple of days after the election.
Yeah, I'd say postpone it for nothing else. We're gonna get here and the building's gonna be locked and we're gonna be chasing keys.
Well, you can't meet on Veterans Day anyway. So the alternative is to either meet the day before or the week after.
I don't see any problem in postponing for another month, you know, maybe a month for the next week.
Shall we consider that a motion?
Sure.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
what was it?
So the
Two.
motion is to essentially to cancel the November meeting.
Oh, okay, I'll second.
Okay, you're actually a third.
Oh, okay, then I'll approve.
Bernie and Ryan have been very quick on the draw today.
Okay,
So all in favor of Bernie's motion to cancel next month's meeting and go to December for our next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
You guys say aye?
They did.
Okay, I didn't hear it. So it passes unanimous.
Well, it was the crowd.
Yeah, that's what. On to E 65 Main Street Workshop Kickoff, which was excellent.
Thank you for coming. Those of you who came, Ryan and Steve and Joanne, Bernie and Norma, you missed a good one.
Yeah,
It was very informative and very exciting.
I am really excited about the permaculture and especially how that whole property meets the river. I mean, could it someday even cross the river?
I feel fairly confident that discussion of a footbridge is going to come into that planning process.
Just create.
I've walked around that footbridge a lot, and one of these days,
Well, that's the other end, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, no, we're talking, could 65 Main link to Riverside Park? I mean,
Should.
that would be.
That would be good.
Is that where the island is in the middle, right there?
think it is.
It's very close to there, at least, yeah. Yeah, I am curious as to you guys' feedback for the presentation. Obviously, I'm like right in the thick of it. So the three of you who were there, I would love to hear your sort of deeper thoughts on what was presented.
I thought it was well presented. The
Yeah.
energy in the room was good. Like I said, I'm very excited about in December, there's an upcoming, not this next one, but the December workshop is essentially a 2-hour seminar about permaculture, which is very interesting. If you're like me and don't know much about permaculture, it's eye-opening and very interesting. Well, so that's in December. Yeah.
The funny thing about the permaculture aspect, in many ways, it's sort of the least prominent piece of the grant award. You know, it's the most discrete element, but it was absolutely the shiny new toy in the room, and everybody was interested in it. To me, if that's the hook that gets people involved in the rest of the project, and
well
Wayne
worth
was
it.
really good.
Yeah, Wayne was just magnetic.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoyed it too. Yeah, it was great. Well organized as usual.
And there's many aspects to that project, the house just being one, which is a great use for that house. You know, there's a historic component that we have to account for. There's some history at that house. I didn't know until recently it was a library. It was the library for a while.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes. Even I remember that. I don't remember much.
It's very interesting.
Well, if you guys get a chance to walk by there, of course, the reno is ongoing, the hazmat abatement. So they've been stripping all that lead paint. I haven't been over there since last week, but they are working gangbusters. The inside has been gutted to the studs. But they're doing everything they can to preserve all of the wood trim or replace in kind. So in fact, any of that decorative millwork that has to come down, we've told the hazmat guys to bag that out separately so we can get the former B.H. Davis company to reproduce them.
Well, that's straight stuff. That's not a favorite.
Yeah.
I might be able to do that actually in my retirement job.
In addition to the obvious that we've already talked about, it being just a fantastic program for the town. Thank you for bringing it here. I think that there's another element to it that we probably didn't talk about enough. That it's kind of where I'd say particularly the United States, but even the world in some ways is heading towards a more regenerative agricultural footprint. And we have the best farmer here in the room, right? The one who kind of built it all. And as you think about smaller farms and protecting farmland, which I know is very dear to at least myself and some other like-minded folks, probably one of the main missions that I have in town, there's the land that's available, being able to promote regenerative agriculture and doing things. And I use the example of Unbound Glory because they're friends of mine in the community that, you know, they're in Pomfret, they're not Thompson, but the concepts, they're leaders in that space, and being able to maybe extract some of these ideas and actually put it into action in some of these smaller parcels of farms could be a really powerful thing to protect land, to promote farming and keep the town in the farming mode that we want to keep it in, right? And not overly develop and things like that. So protecting farmland is probably the most important thing we can do for the town and for future generations.
Right. And the fact that it's not just a little house parcel, it's 3.2.
I mean, I've been using 3.2 as the estimate. It's somewhere between 3 and 3.5. I mean, because it's the west bank of the French River. All of that is Riverside Park, but in some places it's like behind Renee's house. It's a sheer drop. There's no land there, right? So how much of that land is really claimable for the project? We'll see. The 3.2 is kind of how I mapped it out on the town parcel system. So it's going to be really, I mean, I've been back there now with, not with Wayne, but with ECCD and some of the bidders before we awarded that. It's actually really nice and tranquil back there, even now. What it is highly compromised with invasives in some sections. The usual suspects, barberry is back there, beginnings of euonymus and buckthorn, lousy with bittersweet. But that's going to be a part of that plan. So, and just again, to remind people, and some of you have already RSVP'd, but the next one is going to be Thursday the 9th, and that's going to be another one of those card games. I'm putting those themes together now. I spent a bunch of time doing it yesterday because we've had such good response with those, people coming in and using those as the thought prompts to really articulate the highest priorities for the site. So, I'll have sections on physical site design, sections on agriculture, sections on ecology, sections on business needs, sections on education, for people to do that very similar one to the very first one, where, you're deciding what's important to you, what's not important to you, discussing it with your team and your table, and then presenting those ideas at the end. The winner of the game is always me, because I get the data to convert into the next action plan. So if you haven't RSVP'd, do so I can get you on a team.
Okay. Good. Okay. And when you said you went through the woods, come out to the river, where are you opposite the park?
I think that island is in the way there, because you can't really see straight through to the park, at least from where we were. So that's why I think you're right, Bernie, so it's either an island or it's something on the park side that's more wooded, but I don't think on that bank there is any.
I think it's the island.
Yeah.
All right, good. Have ongoing committee business. First up is Swanson Park.
Was part of the CIF grant, so not awarded. We're going to resubmit. I have that T-Mobile grant in my back pocket. That's a $50,000 grant, and I think we figured out it's about $180,000 worth of work over there. So,
you have a grant application in your back pocket, not the money.
Correct. Yeah, because that's quarterly. It just comes up quarterly, so I'm always able to submit for $50,000 with no match requirement.
Right.
But it's a National Foundation grant, so they get tons and tons of applicants. Highly competitive for an award that ultimately doesn't get us everywhere we need to go. But if we never get the money from CIF, it's an option. And I'll just keep plugging away at it.
Yeah, keep submitting.
Yeah. Another option, again, to go back to the CIF grant. So this first one, which is the 3.88 million, has those three main deliverables: the Main Street reconstruction, the funding gap on the renovation for 65, and the 2 parks. But I already know I'm going out for 2 more rounds of CIF, because they kind of encourage you to build on your projects. So after the 65 main grant is done, we're going to have the permaculture plan, right? There's no implementation money for that yet. So I already know I'm going out for CIF grant for the implementation on the permaculture park. If, for example, they don't fully fund us in our CIF request, I can put all the parks together in a later grant. Right. So, and there was another, similarly, the startup costs for the facility itself. There's a small business stream in CIF. So all of these things are feeding together. So that Swanson Park thing, again, if they don't fund it this time around, I'll get them to fund it eventually.
Persistence.
I am nothing if not persistent.
The next round for the CIF grant?
It's opening next week.
Next week?
Oh.
Yes, they're putting out 2 rounds a year for 4 years, 8 total rounds. So the one we didn't get was round 3. Round 4 opens in October, should be awarded in March. And then round 4 is the same as it. No, round 5 would be the same time frame as the one I just applied for. So due in July, announced in late September. So that's their calendar. And I think I figured out that I would be applying for rounds 5 and 8 as follow-ups to the 65 main project. So that probably still holds true, even if we're bumped out into round 4 with the award.
Do you have additions or all your questions answered for number 4?
Well, we had the executive summary for why they
Right.
didn't score us highly. So I think you hadn't come in yet. So I have a con call with DECD on Monday to go over that executive summary, make sure that I understand their points. And then John Guskowski is going to work with me on tightening up the draft.
Oh, wonderful.
The feedback was highly positive in the executive summary, where they dinged us. These things are not insurmountable obstacles. They have a set of standards that they call SMART, and I forget what the acronym is for. They didn't think sustainable, measurable, blah, blah, each of, they didn't think that I hit those points as fully in that answer, clearly. So it's, how to get in their word limits to the thoroughness of answer that they want, because their forms also all have word limits, right? It's not like I can just.
Kara?
Yes, ma'am.
Kara? I almost, when I kind of looked over it, it sounded to me like because the mill project is just in the beginning phases, that's also one of the major setbacks. So there's nothing we can do about that. Didn't that say that was one of the negatives?
I saw that too, Joanne, and I thought that was actually an odd comment on their part, because
we can't do anything about that.
Right. And since the mill project is going to happen and the need is still going to be there, I didn't understand why they detracted on that. But I'm going to ask them about that, among other things.
It's probably just not imminent, in your opinion.
Maybe, although they should know that it's imminent, because they're still in for us to $2 million on that. So I will say they asked me in my follow-up questions after I submitted, so in August, I had actually forgotten to ask Gumpert for an LOS, for a letter of support. I had asked the guys from the St. Joseph School thing and Superior Bakery and a commercial banker. I just forgot to ask John. So he did produce one in the end. Now, I'll say this, John's LOS was somewhat brief compared to some of the other ones. So if I, in fact, get a better, more thorough description from that big investment for the state on how it's helpful, that probably actually makes a difference. So
maybe we can get
things like that.
Maybe we can have John write a blanket letter, and then we can just keep it in the file all the time and just use it for a letter of support every time you need a new grant. We just change the date or the time or the subject line.
He probably would do that.
Well, we could write it and send it to him to sign.
I do occasionally do that for people when they ask me to. I am always reluctant to do that because my syntax in writing is so identifiable to anybody with eyes.
I can see it a mile away.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm always reluctant to put my voice in other people's signatures. And I think they're more helpful and genuine when they're written by the organization. But yes, I have occasionally done that as well. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Over these points. So that's Swanson Park. My only other comment was the VFW.
I mean, at some point, yes, but until we know when we're moving ahead with that, or when we can move ahead with that, I mean.
Informational meeting to present to them our thoughts about
the park
redesigning.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that's what
to get there.
Because that's been hanging around for a while.
Yeah. It did also seem in the executive summary that they wanted something a little closer to shovel ready than the concept plan on that. So I need to talk to Janet about that. I mean, we have your drawing, and she did do a survey. So I don't know what more we need. I included all that. It's a landscaping project.
Yeah.
But I'll see what I can find out there too.
Okay. B, River Mill.
No significant motion other than the VAD ordinance, obviously passed at the end of August. It became effective on the 29th of September. So town council is working on the language for the abatement agreement. And I think John is going to be in town the last week of October. So I think we are at least loosely planning on meeting with him to go over that. And as soon as we have acceptable language, that agreement can get signed. That helps him unlock some of his financing stack. Again, you know, the little incremental steps that push the dial forward. I also emailed Attorney Slater about where they are in that endless documents chain, and his response to me seemed to indicate that DECD has everything they've asked for now and now are doing their final review. If that's true, then all we should need now is for them to send us the final agreement to sign. And we've signed things for them before, but then they tell us it's not the final things. I believe this one is now the final, and that would have to be signed by the town, by John, and by the current owner. Always the part that makes us nervous, but we do have a letter of intent from him, or a memorandum of understanding, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, from him saying he will sign whatever we put in front of him. We have that. We have a signature through his attorney on that. So should all get done.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Moving at the speed of government. Which is something like the speed of a glacier.
Yeah, it's a geological time. Let's see. Well, 6:30 Riverside Drive.
What's new over there?
You want to hear a boo? What's going on over there?
I drove by that at 8:15 that morning, and it was standing. I was sitting at my desk shuffling papers for whatever for the morning, and I get a Facebook message from somebody. What happened to the mill term? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he sent me the post from Winnie. My God, flew into Amy's office. Santos was in there, and we all flew down there. It was like, yep, that thing is flat as a pancake.
That was
unbelievable. Did you walk to work that day?
No, I drove that day because I had, because it was a Tuesday, and I always have to drive on Tuesdays.
You're lucky.
But
oh my God.
What's really lucky is that the thing didn't come down at an angle. It came down as if it were imploded.
No
straight
kidding.
down, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Any idea as to why? Any theories? I've seen theories on Winnie, but are there really any theories?
My theory is that basically the roof gave and it started to go, and it fell on the next floor, which took it and took the brick with it, and that was the beginning of a domino effect going down. That's what I think.
Sure. I mean, look, that structure was supposed to be anchored to a building. It hasn't been anchored to a building in 15 years. All right. We've had a really wet season.
Very.
Right. So the pointing on the brick deteriorating for 15 years, the roof, and
was there a tank up there? It looks like there's a tank on top of the pile.
It doesn't look like a tank. It looks like a bin.
It's like a bin, yeah.
It looks like a bin. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
always see from you know, through the bushes at the road.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like a dumpster, like the same size and shape. So so not like a water tank.
It could have been full of water.
It could have been full of water, and probably was full of water.
At a point load.
Right. And then, you know, I mean, the theorists that, oh my God, the construction, probably not wrong. I mean, they remilled Park Street and they've been.
Yeah, but excuse me, one tractor trailer driving down that Route 12 is way more vibration than all of their work combined.
The train going by a couple times a day. So this is just a combination of factors that happened to coalesce on that day.
Right.
Okay, nobody got hurt. No property damage occurred. I mean, we got away with it on that one for sure.
Miraculously.
But
miraculously.
Yeah, miraculously. But whatever, in some sense, it is one problem solved.
Were they working when it happened?
Oh. They weren't there on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Imagine that.
I was at a gas station on the way to Vermont 2 weeks ago, and we were over by the building with our back to the pump, and then there's this humongous explosion, like a bomb went off. The only way I could describe it, if someone had one of those triaxle dump trucks and they lifted the tailgate all the way up and let it go and it slammed down, but a deeper boom. And needless to say, everyone jumped out of their socks. And I went over and it was a huge garbage truck there, triaxle garbage truck. And the guy had a stubborn look on his face. A tire blew.
Oh,
A tire blew at the pumps from a brake that it seized and had been overheating and stopped at the pumps. The heat built up and blew the sidewall right out.
Amazing.
And it was stunning. It was totally stunning. And I imagine if they'd been working down in the section.
Well, and they would have been in the highest hazard too, particularly if they were working on that side of the pump out. So it's just as well nobody was there on Tuesday or Wednesday. But yeah, I do kind of wish I had seen it. I mean, not driving at the end there, but
Yeah.
you know, because you can only see that once.
Is nobody gonna video it? It doesn't exist, right?
Apparently nobody had like a Ring camera or anything that captured it.
The neighborhood.
There's a little video of the dust cloud afterwards from people going out on their front porches, but I mean, you would have to know it was going to be happening in order to capture it when it happened.
the old man, the mountain.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the building official, I believe, has sent or is sending a letter to the owner that in light of this, the smokestack now also has to come down. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of response that gets.
Well, we know it. That's going to get zero.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
And if he does nothing like he has been, then the brick rubble will just sit there, right? The town's not going to remove it, correct?
Yeah. The town doesn't have the money to do that.
Yes.
So that again becomes the next developer's burden,
Right.
Just like the piles of bricks that are there now. For whatever good news there is, the demolition costs are now removed from them. So yeah, wipe your hands on that. There's always a silver lining. And the other sort of more serious good news is that the fire marshal had CT Deep come out to do air monitoring. So there was no like high hazard air quality issues detected at the time. So, because that's a legitimate worry, is we don't know what's in there, but the site is no more contaminated today than it was last week at this time.
Yes.
We could have a brick sale. We could sell, bricks for 25 cents a piece.
Oh, I think more than that. They're probably pretty clean.
Yes. Oh. Hmm.
So a shame in some ways, because I think there always was that feeling that wouldn't it be nice to preserve that architecturally, but it's just, the problem is now solved for better or worse. It was too far gone, and now it's gone on its own.
Now it's really gone on.
Mother Nature is the world's best demolitions expert.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, one more thing on 630, having nothing to do with the tower. So Wayne Bugden, the other Wayne, is submitting a grant through the Eastern Connecticut Land Bank for an assessment district that is going to go from 630 Riverside to a couple of the mills in Putnam. So the way this grant, it has to be like a coalition or partnership grant. So he's submitting it. He's doing all the legwork. Carly DeLuca, who is going to be leaving Putnam, who took over for Delpha, sort of one of her last tasks. She and I are going to sit down with Wayne and go over that and just make sure that we're describing the goals and that. But the land bank is going to take care of all that. But 630 is one of the target properties there.
Main Street reconstruction.
We didn't get the money, but we will.
Persistence. So we have the drawings.
We have the drawings.
We have the project. We just need the money.
Yep. But we're really well set up to get funded on that. We will. It has been submitted for lot SIP. So you know, worst comes to worst, 4 to 6 years from now,
Yeah,
we'll get the lot
yeah.
zip award. Right, but I mean, there's multiple avenues. In fact, I think there was some commentary in that executive summary. Somebody said something, oh, what about lot zip? Now we know the answer to that. It's 4 to 6 years out. This allows us to meet the immediate needs of the developments that are occurring. That's an easy answer to clear. And then we take the lot zip out and somebody else can have that money. This is a better way to do it. So.
Okay. Other or new committee business? Any new business?
I'm gonna defer stuff to December.
Okay.
Not so much.
Member comments?
This is a great committee.
This is a great one. I have one actually, Milltown. That looks great. I see people sitting out there. You know, there's tables, there's umbrellas. It's a kind of a key corner in town. Just what we wanted.
Are they happy with it?
They are happy
Very.
now. Yes.
And what about the owners, the property owners? Are they happy with it?
I have not spoken with them.
Very happy.
Yes.
I think it's just a win-win. And when you couple that with, you know, the future across the street, it could be a vibrant corner.
That was the goal.
It's a nice tribute to the town, that restaurant. It's nice every time I go in.
Yeah,
It's a good feeling.
given what it is now, I couldn't believe the feedback we were getting.
Before it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Look, it's
yeah.
just like what we get at Blaine Road, right?
It's everything.
People
It's all-
cannot envision, right? Because they don't believe in what they haven't already experienced. And it was temporarily inconvenient for people not to be able to park. Now, it was genuinely inconvenient for the restaurant while we were doing that construction. That anxiety, I totally understand, right? But the idea that somehow backing into state road traffic
was better than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got the
was
same
gonna
kind
be
of
allowed
feedback.
to continue.
It's going to be less safe. It's going to be less safe. Same exact feedback. And all they really meant is it's less convenient for me.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness and permission. Rule 101.
But it's just so nice. Any other comments? I guess we're done here.
Motion to adjourn? Anyone? Anyone?
No, you don't have to do that.
I know, but everybody does it anyway.
We are adjourned. We are adjourned.
Wonderful.
9:40.
See you guys.
Bye, Joanne.
Joanne.
Bye, Joanne.
Bye. See you next time.
Joanne, you there?